Nope, that is not clickbait. Within a very short period of time, after an incredibly tough week, within about a 24, 28-hour period, I was rather enthusiastically kicked out of a campground, and the van caught on fire. Real flames and all. Yeah. So to start with, it's probably wise to preface that this has been kind of a tough week for me. It has been really difficult to find camping with an internet connection. All throughout Montana, there are these beautiful places to camp, but might not surprise you that few of those locations have cell or data signals. And of course, I need to stay connected. So as a result, was looking for a day and a half traveling around, looking for a place, skipping from campground to campground, taking these off-roads in search of finding the perfect place to sort of lay low for a bit, get some work done, and enjoy my week. Well, I ended up at a rest stop that I stayed the night in. I got up early the next morning and I drove and drove. And I stumbled on this private campground. 7-day limit. It didn't have water. I was able to get a signal, at least a data signal anyway. And it was clean, well taken care of. They obviously took great pride in this location. And there was a couple of campers there that I ran into, and they were all rather enthusiastic about this location. I thought it was an oasis of sorts. So after sort of being beat up the last couple of days, I decided to take a nap, woke up, and when I woke up, the host was there, or at least the person that oversaw this particular parcel, this private campground. And I talked to her for a bit, and I explained my journey and what my plans were. And she'd asked when I came in, and I said, this is on Saturday. And I said, well, I just came in a few hours ago. And she kind of looked at me like, oh, you've only been here that long, you know? And I was like, yeah, I just came in. I'm not sure that she believed me, though. And I'll tell you why. They were having some kind of an event at this particular facility that next Saturday. And she had said, well, if you can make sure that you're sort of, gone by next Saturday, that would be great. I'm like, hey, no problem. My 7 days would be up on Friday anyway. I would be out on Friday. So it's a long-winded intro, I know. This is what happens. Come Thursday morning, they are prepping the campground, doing maintenance, mowing, doing whatever they do. Again, they take great pride in this location, and it's apparent. And so as I see them doing all of this stuff, she pulls up and I jump out of the van and I said, hey, look, do you want me to move the van so that you can mow underneath it, right? I can go to a different part of the campground. And she said, you're not even supposed to be here. And I was like, oh, this has got to be a misunderstanding, right? I said, I talked to you on Saturday and we were posted at 7 days and I knew that you had something coming up. My intent is to be out of here by Friday. And she said, no, you need to go right now. And I said, but what about the 7 days? She goes, I don't care. Leave now. And I'm shaken. I'm like, it's not that I'm pissed or anything like that because this is their place, right? I'm just like, there's got to be a misunderstanding, right? And I said, was I wrong? Did I misunderstand our previous conversation or something, And she just says, I want you to get out of here right now. I'm like, okay. Now, fortunately, I was about 5 to 10 minutes away from being packed up and moving on anyway. I just need to, put my laptop away and stow a few things and take the window shades down, and I was in good shape. So it takes me about 5 minutes, and I jump out of the van to get into the driver's seat, and she's taking my license plate with her camera. And I just said, God, did I do anything wrong? And she's just like, go. So I left. Now, I'm not pissed because I feel like I'm missing part of the equation here. And I'm also reluctant to share the location because everybody that I talked to that was there, and many of them were locals or at least had used that facility before, they spoke very, very highly of it. I introduced myself to almost everybody that came in. It was big for cyclists, and I think just about every day there was a cyclist that came through, and I even offer my water because they didn't have water at the facility, and I had, purified water. Let them fill up, and I. Anyway, so I thought I was being a sort of a good guest. Of course, I picked up after the dogs and did all the stuff that you're supposed to do. So that was a shock. So I don't want to beat them up. I'll just chalk it up to a misunderstanding and we'll move on from there. But I got to tell you, it freaked me out. So along the lines of being freaked out, that very next day, come here, buddy. He's chilling. That very next day, almost the same time in the morning, roughly 10:30 in the morning, I had already been working for several hours. I decided to put my head down, close my eyes, take a quick power nap, and all is good. Then I started to smell burnt rubber. And I've smelled, when you're doing these things, there's often influences in your general area. Tarring roads or weird smells or whatever, they just sort of come through the wind. This one was a bit more pronounced. And so I got up and, let's see, can you see this? This is the bulkhead here. Just on the other side of the bulkhead, this blackish, bluish smoke started creeping out. And I immediately went outside and I hit the master electrical switch to turn off all the electrical. Thinking maybe it was an inverter or something that was going on. But then it just got worse. And so I took this lower part, this padded part of the bulkhead, and I just ripped it out. Now, I should explain that all of my wires for my solar come down through this bulkhead, and they get fed out to the battery and to the inverter and stuff. Behind this bulkhead, there are 3 fuses, and there are screws here. It's easy enough for me to pull out the panel and replace the fuses, but anyway, I was like, okay, I think something's wrong. So I pull it out, and honest to gosh, flames. Let me show you something. Chaz thinks I want to show him something. I'll show you something later, buddy, okay? Show them. Can you see this? That's not supposed to look like that. This is a fuse holder. And there's supposed to be another wire coming out of here, and then there's a blade fuse that goes here. This was on fire. And so I ripped it out. I was just like, I just got to get it out of there because it was already burning the wood. It burned the back side of this thing here. And as a result, I got molten plastic on my sleeping bag. It burned like a cigarette hole size burn in my sheets and in my pillowcase. It wasn't pretty. Now keep in mind that my head was this far away from where the fire started. Now I'm sort of laughing because this could have led to something much worse. Now keep in mind that the reason I have a fuse there is for protection, so that if anything happens, the power is cut, and hopefully avoid any shocks or any kind of fire. That didn't work out this time. But anyway, I'm kind of smiling about it because I feel fortunate. The bathroom is about 200 yards away. And what I'd done earlier that morning was leave the dogs in the van and go use the facilities and then come back. Had this happened while I was in the bathroom, there's a good chance this van and my companions would have been in grave danger. So, yeah, I think we're all pretty lucky. So I went ahead and fortunately, I had everything that I needed to be able to make the repair. I think I know what happened. This was pinched in that bulkhead, and it had been jarred around, and I had been banging on it, just leaning against it. And I think that I just fatigued this piece. And so I rewired it, and I looked at it again, and I'm going, I can do better than that. So I rewired it a second time, and I made sure that it's not in a place where it's going to get fatigued. Now, I'm going to have to replace this just in my own peace of mind anyway, because I have little faith in this. But for now, I'm okay. I also took my fire alarm that is in the front that routinely goes off when I cook, but for whatever reason didn't go off. Maybe it's because I caught this quick enough. But I took the fire alarm. It sits right next to this bulkhead right now. But yeah, so within about 24, 28 hours, I was kicked out of the campground and the van caught on fire. Honest to gosh, flames and all. Now there is a bright side to this though, and that is that after all the time that I struggled trying to find a place with the signal, with the facilities that I need to camp, I found it. So again, I am at the I hope I say this right, Kameawait. I think it's after Chief Kameawait. Kameawait Campground in Clark Canyon Reservoir. I'm at a campground now that's got, I think, about 3 or 4 different sites. Again, I'm about 200 yards away from the main camping area. There is potable water here with one of those old-time manual hand pumps. A couple of bathrooms. There's trash services here. And with the exception of having a number of people here over the weekend, ain't nobody around. Now, there are reviews here of mosquitoes being terrible. I disagree with that, only because they're not mosquitoes, they're midges. They don't bite, but they're obnoxious as hell. But otherwise, this has been a great place. So we're going to be here for a little while longer, then we'll move on. I've got a couple of places that I want to go. We want to go to the Craters of the Moon. That's going to be our next sort of major stop. We have 2 sort of campground locations probably before then. Anyway, look, that is it. And yeah, we'll talk to you soon. Stay tuned. Bye now. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to tell you. Don't freak you out when I say, oh yeah. Hit the like or the subscribe or both, or hit that damn bell or whatever. I hate to ask you to have to do that. Not that you have to do that, but I'm supposed to say it so that I get more subscribers, so that more people can see these videos. Yeah, so if you would, that would be terrific. I would appreciate it. Thank you much. I'm Tim, and yeah, I'm untethered. Bye now.